Sit. All right, well, here we are back again at Animal Training Development Center, and today we've got with us Kasey, and Kasey is about a 1-year-old German Shepherd dog, as you can see. He is a up-and-coming, awesome dog. I can just say I've really enjoyed him. We've had him now for 5 daycare days, and we're going to have him for 10 total as far as days that we get to spend with him. And then of course he's going to have 4 lessons with his family and getting leash in their hands and helping them learn to do the things that we've been doing with him. So as any young dog goes, he's learning day to day by his environment. He doesn't have a lot of life experience, so he's learning how to deal with traffic and bicycles and kids splashing around in pools and just people visiting, and there's a lot of coaching that goes on with training way beyond just the verbal commands that we teach, as well as the hand signals that we teach for the different words that we teach. And so we're going to take you through the words that we're teaching right now, and in the background, of course, realize that we're also working on problem behaviors, things like the jumping up that he has a tendency to do on times that he gets excited with people visiting. We're working with remote trainer and coordinating training through that technique, and it's working very well. We just have to keep at it. Really, I recommend the remote be on each day, every day, all day for 10 days in a row in order to help him through that. And we can set up scenarios like have your friends or family come ring your doorbell, and even if it's your own family member, them walking in after having rung the doorbell will put him in that heightened sense of excitability and make it more likely that he'll try to jump. Remember, if he's doing something you never want him to do, like jumping on people, then it's best to say nothing at all to him. Just let the button do the talking, and this way he's not hearing one person's voice and learning when that person tells me not to jump, I shouldn't jump. That makes it to where somebody has to tell him not to jump before he jumps to keep him from jumping. And B, then that tone of voice of that person using the remote is going to be the one he's listening for. We want him to kind of coach himself after a while that jumping isn't in his best interest by saying nothing and letting the act of jumping itself in his mind create that discomfort from the remote. And so that's our advice on that. And we're going to set up a scenario there at your house once the pool is open, and I'd like to come and do one of your private sessions during that time to where I can literally take him around and coach him how to act around the swimming pool. You got to realize that as a herding dog, they're control freaks by nature, and that's the case whether you have a corgi or a Shetland sheepdog or any other type of herding dog, border collies and stuff like that. They're born kind of pre-wired to be control freaks, to look at a herd of sheep and say that one's not where it's supposed to be, and they have this intense need to fix that. Well, when kids are splashing around a pool and they're all animated and excitable and they're making a lot of noise, for a dog, especially a herding dog, they view that as chaos, and their instinct is they want to go out there and round it all up and make it all nice and neat and quiet and calm and controlled, and until they see that, they feel like they need to be active. Well, we're going to teach him in a way he'll understand it. Look, these kids are having fun. Nobody needs saved. Nobody's in danger. Enjoy the show. Kind of desensitize them to the kind of things that kids do. And we're doing the same thing as the YMCA. The YMCA pool is going to be opening up this weekend. And so next Tuesday and Thursday when we get in, we'll try to get some video for you of us doing that around that pool. We were at the splash park today. I didn't get a chance to video it. I have a policy where I try not to be too intrusive with my camera, and so when I'm working with a dog, I try to be sensitive to the people that are around as I'm videoing, and I've decided it's not a great idea for me just to video dogs training through the splash park with all these kids running around and stuff like that. So I didn't video it, and in fact there really wasn't much to see. I did have the remote with me, and I took him out and worked him around the kids, not too close, but within distance where he could certainly see them splashing around and making noise and everything. And he did a really good job of kind of holding a sit command and watching them do their stuff, and then been healing through the adults in the background there and everything. He did really a good job for me today. So I'm very optimistic that we're going to get that under control for you pretty quickly. All right, so let's go over the command words that we've been training. And so, like I said, we train dogs to do different command words, and we teach them what those words mean. Then we reinforce those words through distraction levels that start to increase as we begin, or continue rather, training. And then we're coaching in the background, teaching a dog, how do I act when a bike goes by? What do I do when people walk by with dogs that bark at me? What happens when people come to visit our home? And the list goes on and on and on. So now we're going to get into the training that we're doing. So as you can see, he's nice and relaxed now. I hope you can see him just laying there. I think the camera angle is good. Let me just check that real quick. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, Kasey. Okay, so release word means he can do whatever he wants. It's always a good sign when you give the release word, the dog wants to come to you, as he just did there for me. Now we're going to give him the command sit. Very important when we give a command, we only say it once. You don't want to say it 3 times, just say it 1 time. Sit means sit and keep sitting until I tell you you can stop sitting. So as I'm moving around him, I don't have to say the word stay. You can say it if you want to, but really sit is all we need. And then if I say, okay, he can quit sitting and get up again. Good boy. Let's try this again. Kasey, sit. Good. This time I'm going to walk a circle all the way around him. We always say distractions are to dog training as weights are to weightlifting. And if you think about a person that's really strong, they can lift a lot of weight. And if you think about a dog that's really well trained, they can work through a lot of distraction. Okay, Kasey, good boy. So we want to work our way up in distractions, just like you want to work your way up with weights. You just add a little bit of weight at a time. So me having him sit and then me just standing there is one level of weight for him holding the sit command. Me walking a circle around him is adding a little bit more weight to the training. And now I'm going to add even a little bit more weight. Okay, Kasey, come here. Kasey, sit. Good. As I bounce this ball, good boy. Good. Good boy, and okay, good boy, Kasey. Atta boy, right on. And you could do the same thing with treats. You could do the same thing with having somebody go out and ring your doorbell as he holds a sit command. There's a lot of ways that you can start to add weight to your bar. And this is where we get into what I call the art of dog training. So the art of dog training, as far as Mike Rowland is concerned, is the idea that we want to create a challenging but doable environment for your dog to train in each and every session. If I'm not challenging him with more distraction, then he's not going to get any stronger in his training, just like if I don't challenge my muscles with enough weight that's going to challenge them, I'm kind of just wasting my time if it's too light. On the other hand, if it's too heavy and I'm trying to put too much weight on the bar at one time, I might even injure myself trying to lift that weight, and that's not good for my workout and that's not good for my muscles. I need to make sure I'm making it challenging but doable. And so when it comes to distraction training with our dogs, we got to kind of keep that in mind too. Kasey's very bright and he's doing really good, but he's still very young. So I wouldn't try to take him to a dog park, for example, where there's 20 dogs running around off leash and try to make him hold a sit command there right now. I probably wouldn't even try the veterinarian's waiting room at this stage in his training. We want to work our way up to that. Okay, so sit command is that. Okay, Kasey, come on. So when we teach the heel command, we start with a sit. Kasey, sit. And then we want to line up in the heel position ourselves physically. So later we could teach him to line up for us, but for right now, I'm going to line up in the heel position. So we got him on our right side. You can see that he's close enough that I can reach over and touch him, but he's not so close that he's blocking me if I want to turn a sharp right turn. No, sit. No, sit. Good. Now when I lead with my right foot and say heel, he should get up and follow into that heel position. So heel is technically heel is just a position in relationship to your body. So when I say to a dog to heel, I want him to stay, in this case, my right side. His left paw should kind of fall in line with my right foot, heel, and that's a good heel position. Now, it's a strict position in the sense that while he is heeling, he shouldn't do anything else. For example, he shouldn't be Very nice. He shouldn't be too far ahead. And when I say too far, not even a couple inches too far ahead. He shouldn't be too far behind. Again, not even a couple inches too far back. He shouldn't be too far to the right or too far to the left. He can't look away. He can't scratch. He can't go potty. He can't do much of anything other than stay focused like he is right there and heel, staying in that position with me every step of the way. Good, good boy. When I stop, we're looking for a nice automatic sit. Very good. Awesome. And then I can give the release. Okay. Okay. Now when we release him and say okay, he's okay to do just about anything he wants except get to the end of the leash. So you'll see later in the video here, we show you the unspoken command in detail. And the idea of the unspoken command is even if I don't say anything, right there, a dog should keep slack in the leash. It's their job technically. See that? To keep some slack in the leash. So I shouldn't have to remind him not to pull me, and I shouldn't have to worry that he will. Now, of course, at this age and while he's training, we do have to be aware that he isn't trained well enough that he may not get excited, or he may chase after a goose or a rabbit or a squirrel or whatever the case may be. So we're not out of the woods yet, so to speak, when it comes to this being bulletproof, but we're moving in that direction. So next we're going to show you the down command. Down. If he doesn't, I'm just going to give a little tug down with my foot. Down. Just like that. Now down is just like the sit. He should keep doing it until I tell him he can stop. Good boy. And I can tell him he can stop by giving the release word, or I can line up in that heel position and say heel. Good boy. And of course he can stop laying down in order to get into that heel position again. Good boy. While we're healing, we're going to take you for a little walk with us, or heel with us actually. And I'm going to show you that we want to get him practiced on going around different objects, like we've got our little kitchen island here. Good boy. Good boy. Making sure he stays in position every step of the way. No heel. Good. That's a good dog, Kasey. No heel. When I'm saying the word no heel, as I'm saying the word no, I'm tugging in such a way to put him back in that heel position. So it's helping him learn where that position is. And you and I know it's always the same spot. Oops, no heel. Caught you going the other way. Good. And this one, more than any other, will teach him in a way he can really understand and appreciate. Nice. That we're taking that leadership role, and he is now becoming more and more our follower. So for a herding dog, there's only 3 things in the world. There are sheep that need to be controlled. That's most things in their mind. There are wolves that need to be repelled. That's most of the other things. And once in a blue moon, there are sheep herders that need to be obeyed. And we're trying to become a sheep herder in Kasey's mind, and that's where we're headed. So thanks for watching. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Otherwise, start practicing some of these on your own at home. And then I know after next week's daycare training days, the following, I think, Tuesday is going to be our first lesson together, and I'm looking forward to that. So again, let us know if you have any questions, but in the meantime, know that Kasey's doing great, and we're looking forward to continuing on our training. And as always, we wish you all happy training. Happy training. Hey, Kasey, you ready to go for a walk? All right. Let's go this way. Good boy. All right, well, hello and welcome back. We're out here at one of my favorite parks and working on the unspoken command right now. And the unspoken command is the concept that a dog should learn: never get to the end of the leash at any time for any reason. And I shouldn't have to say anything about it. So we really don't spend a lot of time talking about not pulling. Instead, we reinforce the idea of not pulling by right there proactively tugging back right before he reaches the end of the leash. So we call this the unspoken command because you really shouldn't have to say anything to a dog to tell them not to pull you if you never want to be pulled in the first place. And of course, nobody really does. And so rather than always have to be ready to say no pull, or easy or whatever words people like to say. I prefer just to make it clear to them in a way that they can understand that it's up to them to be watching us close enough to where they never get to the end of the leash at any time for any reason. So you see Kasey's doing a really good job of just kind of keeping some slack in the leash. And within that, he's got all the freedom to kind of do doggy things. So if he wants to be on my right side or my left side, if he wants to sniff the ground, I've got the prerogative to where I can stop with him and let him check something out if I want to. Or if I choose to continue walk, he should still be mindful of where I'm at to where he doesn't get to the end of the leash. Even as I start to reach the end, he needs to be ready to pick up his pace to keep from getting to the end, like right there. Right there. Good boy, Kasey. Good. So as we walk past some people here, we might want to just make sure he's doing his job. Yeah, good job there, Kasey. Kasey's really good when it comes to staying calm around people for the most part. As you can see, he didn't even notice that person hardly passing us by. He does have a tendency to be a little reactive when he sees, especially large males. We saw a guy getting something out of his truck at the YMCA earlier as we were walking by the path. And the guy had his back turned to us and was just getting something out of his truck, and for whatever reason, Kasey thought that looked pretty suspicious to him, and so he went ahead and barked at him and kind of scared the guy. But this is typical for a younger German Shepherd. You know, those protective instincts are really starting to surface now, and Kasey at this age, just being around a year old, is feeling those instincts to be watchful and protective and to act out on those instincts. And that's what he was doing today when he saw that guy, and it scared the guy quite a bit. But I, apologized and I told Kasey to heel, and then made him focus on me instead of that guy. And so we're going to get into the heel command in more detail when I can have both hands and put the camera down, show you how the heel looks later on in the video, or earlier on in the video, I think it's going to be by the time I do the editing. At any rate, again, you can just see this is going super well with him, keeping slack in the leash, enjoying our walk together. And this is really what having a dog is all about, just enjoying time together, going out places, beautiful places like this park, enjoying the sounds of the birds and watching the kids play, and just a very enjoyable experience, and even more enjoyable when you have good company like Kasey. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Again, being at this age and everything, he's getting acclimated to a lot of different stimulus. Things like loud trucks and just quick movements of vehicles. We've been working a lot on that. Out at the YMCA especially has a good opportunity to walk alongside a pretty busy road. And when we first started training him 5 sessions ago, he was very reactive, very fearful even at some of the trucks passing by, but he's quickly recovering from all that. He's getting desensitized to that type of thing. He also has a tendency to be a little, we'll just call it extra watchful when other dogs are around sometimes. He's really good in general with dogs, but I know that he kind of treats some dogs like he did that guy today, just with a little suspicion and a little bit of reactivity barking wise. But again, this is just a dog that is young and these instincts are coming out, and we're just trying to help him navigate some of this stuff together. Good boy. Morning. Good dogs. Good dogs. Good. And there's a prime example of how he is. Just a little hyper aware, maybe is the way to say that. Just, you know, it's a stimulus. Stimulus causes reactivity. And what we try to do with what we consider to be normal interactions, like you're going to normally see people walking their dogs on paths like this, we just want to start to coach a dog and how they should respond. And so he wasn't vocal that time. He certainly was curious and did a really good job of kind of keeping a little slack in the leash without being over the top too much. But again, that younger side of him kind of showed there, that piqued curiosity and that kind of hyper-vigilant, kind of more than casual interest, just a little bit over the top. But certainly much better than it was just 5 sessions ago. So I see, Kasey is a dog that's got tons of potential and is going to become a fabulous partner, pet, whatever you want to call him as time goes by. Usually takes about 2 years really to get a dog acclimated to the world that you live in. And so with every different kind of environment, you're going to have different type of stimulus. Here in the Midwest, we've got the changes of seasons, and that alone takes a couple of years for a dog to kind of get used to. The difference between summer and winter out here is extreme, and with each season comes a whole different list of a stimulus. And so now that we're nearing summertime, of course we've got a lot more wildlife activity, squirrels and rabbits and chipmunks and deer and birds everywhere. We've got a lot more people active out in the summertime, riding bikes and jogging and walking their dogs and strollers and all that good stuff. And so, it takes a couple of years for a dog to kind of get enough of that exposure to start to generalize in their own mind, what to really think about that different stuff and how to react when they see it. But it's time that you spend more time, coaching and monitoring and being, prepared for the unexpected. He might spook and just randomly just try to bolt away because something that we would consider to be a normal occurrence just happened to him. Maybe the beeping sound of a school bus backing up, or kids getting out of the school bus all at once. And I'm not saying that Kasey's reactive to either of those types of things. In fact, he's pretty steady when it comes to kids, especially really good. So I don't know that he would be reactive at all with a bunch of kids unloading from a school bus. I doubt that he would actually. We just haven't seen it yet. So you don't know until you know how a dog's going to react, and you just have to be ready and prepared to know what to do when they do react. And we've got all our tools with Kasey. We've got him fitted with a prong collar there, which is very helpful. As you can imagine, he's a very strong dog, and that prong collar is really helpful in keeping him connected to us physically, but also mentally, as he realizes that if he gets too far to the end and we pull back, that gets his attention really pretty well. Good. We've also got him fitted with a remote collar, and that's working really well, and we're going to keep using it for quite a while. He gets super excited whenever people come over to the house, and again, this is a very common type of reactivity for dogs. And so what we're trying to do is teach him that if you've got that kind of energy, it's okay to jump up, but just don't jump on. And he just has this strong desire to kind of give kisses, and he'll jump up and bump your face with his teeth. He's not biting, but it doesn't feel great, and we're working on that with the remote. We need to continue to be proactive in that. If we're only catching him jumping up on every other person that comes in the door, and he's getting away with jumping up on every other person, then you can imagine we're not going to get anywhere in our training. If we're stopping him 3 out of 4 times, then we're at least making progress. And if we're stopping him 4 out of 4 times, we're going to get this fixed in about 10 days is the theory. So I recommend him continue to wear his remote collar first thing in the morning, all through the day, because you never know when opportunity will come knocking at your door, literally sometimes, and you get that opportunity to have that button in your hand and open that door and welcome your guest or friend or neighbor, and see if you can keep him from jumping up on people. And again, I don't mind them jumping up. I've seen dogs that just 3 feet away from a person, and they've got springs on their legs, and they just boing, boing, boing up and down. But as long as they're not making contact, I think that's a fine way for them to express themselves and release a little bit of that energy. You can also try to redirect some of that energy. When I had my golden retriever, it was really easy to kind of, when you saw her excited to see people, hey, go get your toy, go get that toy. It didn't take many of those types of coaching moments that when she saw somebody coming the door, before we'd even tell her, she'd run and go get a toy to bring and show that new person. And what I love about that is if a dog has something else in their mouth already, of course they're not going to be putting other people's body parts in their mouth, and it gives them something else to focus on rather than that person. So if they're coming with a toy, right here, he's trying to, there we go. He's getting to the end of the leash, and you saw I just proactively gave a little tug back. He looked right back at me in the leash. That shows that we've got through to him. Good boy. You can once in a while, just as you're taking a walk like this, Kasey, sit. No, sit. Just do your sit command. Maybe walk around him a little bit as he holds. And then give your release word, okay. Now, okay means he's done sitting and he can get up, but we're still in that unspoken command mode, always in that unspoken command mode. Just because I say okay doesn't mean he can race out and try to pull me. He's always going to maintain that connection physically and mentally, that he needs to stay within the length of leash that we're giving him. And right now the 6-foot leash is perfect for where we're at in our training. Once he's doing really well on that for quite a while, we can move to a longer line, maybe even a retractable. I wouldn't recommend that anytime soon, however. Good boy. Oh. Good. Real nice, just casual interest there. That's fine any day of the week right there, the way he acted as that person walked by. So, we talk about training, and training is teaching a variety of different command words, what they mean, what to do if the dog doesn't do those words. That's training. Coaching is training, kinda. It's just kind of coaching is really, instead of a specific command mode, like sit or down or heel or come or any of those kinds of commands, coaching is like, well, how do we react when somebody comes to our front door? How do we react when we pass somebody on a path like this? How do we react when another dog barks at you? And it goes on and on. And so, those coaching moments are going to be coming, very frequently this season. This is his, I think just second summer, right? And he was really young the last one. So really it's kind of his first one to really be able to coach him through. How do you, act when you see, some kid on a bike, coming at you very quickly? Those are all the things that we're coaching him on. And so we continue to look for opportunities, like today on this path and at the Y, and We're going to start walking around his neighborhood where he's going to walk very frequently, and that's going to all be great coaching opportunities. So we're going to finish up this walk, and then we're going to video the rest of the training that we've done with him so far, as far as the training command words: sit and heel, down, come. Worked on all those, and we're about halfway through our training programs as far as the daycare days go, and then we'll have 5 more daycare days and 4 private lessons to follow up with, making sure we get the leashes in owners' hands and making sure they're able to do the things that I'm doing with him myself. So looking forward to the last video that we'll do on him. Will be and all that's about wrapped up, and we'll show you the progress we've made and the other commands that we'll teach. We teach a command to get in the vehicle. I call it HUP. It's just up with an H to it. We teach a command to get in the kennel. We're calling that, I believe, crate is the word we chose for that, I think. Haven't really done that officially yet, so I have to check my notes. We're going to teach a place command, which is just him learning that when he's given the place command that he is assigned an object, a pillow or a cot or whatever it is, and then he has to stay on that object until we give him a release word. So that's a good one to have in our toolkit. And yeah, just continue to work on some of these problem behaviors, the jumping up, and the leash pulling is getting better and better as we continue daycare training. We do a lot of this right now. It's just right there. He's even getting a little ahead. So good. I love it when they look back. That tells me that I got through to him. That's all I had to do right there, is that little tug back. He looked, checked in. All right, gotcha. And he's right back to enjoying our walk together. So that's what it's all about. Again, guys, we're going to finish up this video and get him back to indoors where we can show you the rest. Hi.
Hi.
Boy. So, yeah, there again, real nice job. A little stroller and baby, 3 people. Just mild curiosity. Very good stuff. Okay, just some mild curiosity. Not bad. Good boy. This local park has a water park where the kids run and make a lot of noise and splash around. And I don't like to video as I go through there. I feel like people think I'm some sort of a weirdo if I do. So I'm probably just going to walk him through there without the video camera going, just to make sure he's nice and neutral around the kids, which I'm sure that he will be. But I know that he gets excited at pools, and so we're gonna, off camera here, just take him through, make sure he does really nice through there. And then I know at home where he lives, they've got a pool, and we're going to make sure that we get some training time with them in the pool. Again, just good coaching opportunities for Kasey and how we react, or how we should react, as kids are splashing and squealing and throwing things as they do in the pool time. So I'll let you know how he does later, but like I said, I don't like to take my camera and a bunch of kids playing and have parents wondering why I'm videoing. So we'll just leave the camera here, and I'll give you both my hands also to operate the remote control if I need it, and that'll be perfect. So yeah, we'll let you know how that goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. Sit. No, sit. Good. Heel. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So we did the heel command through there. And again, we're going to get into more of this at home. No, heel. It's a very strict position and ultimately ideal for when there's big distractions coming by. I'll be using that one a lot as we go through the splash park here. But no camera.